We are blessing y'all right now. Run Your Race and Outlier are giving 2 free tickets to the NBA playoff game. All you have to do is hit the link in the description and sign up for a free trial. Once you do that, you will be entered into a draw and you can get 2 free NBA tickets to a city near you. So make sure you comment Outlier, hit the link in the description so you can start your free trial. Outliers give you a chance to make smarter bets and get free tickets. So go to Outlier right now and sign up for a free trial.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Run Your Race with my boy, AJ Richardson. And today, we got a very special guest here today. We got 2-time MEAC Coach of the Year. We got North Carolina Central great head coach, Levelle Moton. And as you guys know, we are sponsored by DraftKings. So y'all go to DraftKings right now, download the app, and use promo code RACE. Now let's get to the episode. What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Run Your Race with my boy, AJ Richardson, who is not here today. He working, so he get a little pass today. But we don't need him because we got a very special guest here today. We got 2-time MEAC Coach of the Year. I mean, he is North Carolina Central basketball head coach, Levelle Moton.
Man, what's up, boy? Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
Man, you hit me, said, let's do this pod. I said, it's no brainer.
Absolutely.
We got to get this done. First MEAC coach. I want to say, other than Josh Howard, this might be our first coach. He might be our first coach we had.
Wow.
And
that's dope.
We about to definitely,
and I follow the pod, so that's dope.
For
Y'all
sure. We about to
get
into this, get into everything.
Let's
like
do
you
it.
said, because we talk about run your race. Run Your Race.
Mm-hmm.
It's the name of it, because everybody has a different path.
Right.
Everybody has a
Right.
different race. Everyone doesn't get to where they want to get to the same way. And that's why I love doing this, because everyone does it differently.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I want to give everybody just to listen and just know somebody could be going through the same thing that you went through, and look where you are now, head coach of North Carolina Central for 16 years.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and like I said, we just talked about it off camera, just like, it go by.
Man, it
just
goes.
like that. I asked you how many years it's been. You like, you're like, I can't even remember.
Yeah, because you just here. You in the moment.
You're in the
where
moment.
your feet are. Doing the best you can.
But let's get right into it. Let's get into your journey.
Let's do it.
Where you from, and how did you get started hooping?
It's crazy, man. Born in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Roxbury. And then at a young age, my mom moved down here to Raleigh, North Carolina, man. So birthed in Boston, raised in Raleigh, moved to Lane Street Projects in Raleigh, North Carolina, man. And so, it was a sudden change, somewhat of a culture shock, to say the least, man. It was a lot of pressure on kids that was my age at the time, because most of the drug dealers was recruiting kids our age, to interact and participate. Yep. So now it's like, yo, you got to make a choice. You got to make a decision. And do you do what your friends do, or do you go walk the straight and narrow, man? So fortunately for me, I chose to try to walk the straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm. How difficult was that at that age, making a decision like that? Because it's easy to get influenced, because like I said, we know.
Yeah.
They got money in their pocket.
Yeah.
You see that. You're like, man, we need that.
Absolutely.
You feel like you need that money to survive, and you want to help mama.
You feel like it's justified.
Exactly.
See, the crazy thing about me, I'm the baby. My brother, shout out to Earl Vern, he's 5 years older. My father left us when we was 4 years old. So I always resented him. Like,
Got you.
Yo, my man, you left us in the projects, right? And so you see your mom struggle every single day, like struggling to make ends meet. And now sometimes, you walk out your house, you got to make a life or death decision in order just to get back in.
That's crazy.
Right? And then, not only that, me and my brother had a dance whenever we could walk down the driveway and smell my mom cooking, right? Because it was a hot meal. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were just fortunate for a hot meal. So you see her struggling, to say the least. And she don't have any benefits, no life benefits, no health care, no dental, we had to go outside and she's like, y'all don't get hurt out there because, you know, it was a struggle or a challenge to take us to the hospital.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're living that life. And as a 10-year-old kid, you want to do something to help.
Yeah.
And by any means necessary, man. And you don't even care. Like the thought, your whole mindset is just to protect and provide for my family because we need a man in the house and I need to help out my mom. And now outside this door is a life of crime. But they're promising you if you take a package from here to there, you can get $300 and help her pay the rent. And like, so all of this is contemplating through your head.
Yeah.
Now you want to be fly and fresh because the Jordans and the starter jackets at the time, all of this is coming out. So that's the peer pressure that you're like, wow, man. And so you going to school and you're getting roasted for your gear.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And now you just like, man, you just going through it and you like, what should I do? But fortunately for me, I had OGs in my hood that was like, one in particular, Beefy. Shout out to Beefy. He was like, and I didn't know this until later. He called the meeting. He told everybody in our hood, if anybody put some product or package or a pistol in this boy head, you got to come see me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'm so appreciative of him to this very day. Like he comes to all the North Carolina Central games, man, and that's my dude. But I had someone, it was like the Kendrick factor. You know, good kid, bad city. At that time, you needed that ray of protection. And so when people saw me, man, they just treated me as such, like, yo, get away from here. This ain't your business, et cetera, et cetera. And they just invested in me as a basketball player because they saw something bigger than what I could see in myself at the time.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
100%.
And like I said, it's all timing. You know what I'm saying? Being a young guy and just when they see potential, they want you to get out.
Yes,
they
sir.
They want to see you succeed. What was the moment for you that you knew like, okay, I'm a little bit different. I can really take this and do something with it. When was that moment for you?
Man, that's a great question because, you know, when I was growing up, like anybody will tell you, I was a much better baseball player than basketball player.
Really?
Oh, man, that was like second nature. I can do that with my eyes closed. And I was a better quarterback than I was a basketball player. Basketball was more challenging for me.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Like I really kind of had to work at it. I was natural with baseball and football. But the moment that changed my life, man, and I'm grateful for it, I went to the Raleigh Boys Club. My mom signed my brother and I up for the Raleigh Boys Club. And this become a boys club that's produced myself, Nate McMillan, PJ Tucker, John Wall, TJ Warren, Devontae Graham, like all of these pros come from our neighborhood. It's crazy. Like it's not like it's a city of pros. It's like a pocket of pros that come. And we were all raised by this guy named Ron Williams. Shout out to Ron. He was incredible. But I walk into the boys club one day and I see a bunch of Pepsi trucks out there. And I'm just thinking they restocking the vending machines. I walk in the gym and they're having like a Pepsi Hot Shot contest. And I saw some of my homeboys participating in it, and I was like, oh, this is corny. Y'all, you know, I ain't even about it. You know, y'all corny, right? Yeah. And they was like, no, man, you got to enter. I said, nah, I'm good on it. The president of Pepsi is there. He comes over. He says, man, I heard you're a good basketball player. I was like, yeah. He said, well, I want you to enter the contest. I said, nah, I'm okay. He said, well, whoever wins gets those 2-liter Pepsis over there. I was like, shoot, sign me up.
Yeah.
Then. You know, I'm dead. I was like, that's my first NIL deal now that I think about it. Right?
That's all I did.
That was
Two
name
Pepsis?
him. Yeah,
Say less.
Them right there. Yeah, I got to take that back home to mama. Mom, look what I did. I'm putting food on the table now. I'm a man's. And so I entered the contest. I ended up winning it. What I didn't know, the following weekend, I had to go to Charlotte. I go for the state. I go there and I win it. What I didn't know, now I got to go to Atlanta for the Southeast region. Now I'm shooting in front of 5,000 people at Georgia Tech. And I'm shooting in front of a kid that he's like the 3-time Pepsi champion. And this the early 80s. So his father's over there with a camcorder. He got on Pepsi headbands, sweatbands, knee pads, shorts. I was like, oh, nobody gonna beat this dude, right?
He ready.
And I end up beating him. And I remember he was crying. And I was like, wow, I felt bad because I was like, I was just in this for some Pepsi.
I just wanted some 2 liters.
Yeah, I wouldn't have felt that pain.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is the following weekend I would go shoot at the halftime of the Bullets, who the Wizards now, and the Bulls, right, in DC for the Nationals. And I went up, I didn't want to go because I had an AAU game. But my mama told me to go and my grandmother told me to go. So I ended up going, and it was the first time I ever been on a plane. And I remember flying into the city of DC and seeing—
You're how old?
10, 11.
Okay.
And so I'm seeing everything I've ever seen in a history book. Because it's my first time on a plane, first time outside the projects.
Yeah.
Because where I'm from, they was like, yo, you just live fast and die young, and nobody from here makes it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing the memorial, the White House, and then when I get there, my first order of business is to go meet the president at the time, Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk in there, he's like, man, good luck tomorrow. And I introduce myself to him. And now I'm shooting on national TV at halftime of the Bullets in the Bulls game.
Yeah.
Now, MJ is a rookie at the time. So he's on the sidelines, but as they're going into the locker room, we're coming out. He puts his hands on my head. He was like, good luck, young fella. He was on crutches. He had broke his foot.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
He'll be like, yo, man, because that's MJ. That's Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? And so I go out there, man. I just remember asking God, man, let me make my first shot. I made my first, because now it's 20,000 people.
Yeah. You ain't never been in an—
Bro, I ain't never seen nothing like this,
nothing.
right? I make my first shot. I end up winning the hot shot competition. It was televised. So when I come back home, like, people just treat me differently. Like, I'm that dude.
Yeah.
And they throw me a little parade, and I go to my grandma's house and I tell her, look, I'm going to buy you a house and a car. And I'm going to get everybody out the projects. And man, she told me something that's lived with me to this day. She said, I want you to understand something. The two most important days of your life is the day that you were born and the day you figure out why. And she said, when you leave this earth, if people remember you as a basketball player, then you've done a poor job of living.
1,000%.
I've never forgotten that in my life, man. So I just tried to live my life accordingly. But that's the singular event that changed my life.
That just hit home.
Yeah.
That was big time, because you saying that has kind of been like what I'm low-key going through.
Mm-hmm.
Because making this jump into doing this is, I feel like, sort of my calling or my purpose, because I'm able to connect.
There you go.
I'm able to go back, like, these connections here is what really matters. And I'm able to do this without paying anybody. And that's what people don't, they're like, you're not paying? I'm like, no, this is just for me, just building a relationship, being a good dude. And
pull up.
The basketball just puts you in position.
There you go.
And that's what we talked about before the cameras come on. That's what these like guys have to understand. When the ball stops bouncing,
what are you gonna do?
All the other shit that you had,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Just
so what are you gonna do after that?
Absolutely.
How are you gonna continue to touch people? How are you gonna continue to help people? How are you gonna continue to make a difference? And help the younger generation be better? And like, you have true indication, your true representation of that. And just going from that, understanding, like, if it wasn't for that, do you think you would have kept playing baseball or football? Or was it because you kept winning, you was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And even after that moment, I continued to play all. And then now I'm playing AAU. And this is the most interesting thing now that I'm even talking about AAU to you, because I played I'm in 7th grade now. It's the following year after the Pepsi Hot Shot contest. I'm in 7th grade, and my coach, Bob Smallfield, comes up. He said, man, it's this guy named Eddie Thomas that want to talk to you about AAU. He got an AAU team. He's going to call it the Raleigh Stars. And I told him, look, the first person you got to get is Levelle Moton. If you get him, he'll get everybody else, because everybody else want to play with him. I had never heard of AAU in my life. Eddie Thomas come up. I'll never forget. He gave me a packet. I'm reading through it, and I'm just understanding what AAU was, where it is, how you go about it, et cetera, because there's no teams in Raleigh. He establishes the Raleigh Stars. It becomes the first AAU program east of Greensboro at this time. It was one team in the city. And we get a team together. We go to the state 2 years in a row. The second year I had 40 in the championship against Charlotte, but we lose by like 6, right? They were absolutely loaded, right? and so I was crying, boy, because I took losing, I'd go crazy. I'd do a tantrum, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was losing my mind. After the game, he comes up to me, he says, him and Ivan Chapman, who was the assistant coach too, he comes up and he says, don't worry, man, we're going to get you some help next year. The following year, I'm coming from baseball practice. Now I'm in 8th grade. coming from baseball practice, now I'm going to AAU practice again. And our practices at that time was just, we go to the local rec center and just play against the grown men that was in there. That was our practice.
Yeah.
I walk in there, and as I'm taking off my cleats, I'm putting my sneakers on, I see a dude like with his shirt off. He kind of like lean and take off from the dotted line and dunk and scream, ah! So I'm tying my shoe. I'm like, damn, who uncle is that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because homie said, who uncle is that?
Yeah.
Ivan says, that's not nobody's uncle. His name is Jerry Stackhouse. He's the number one freshman in the state. I said, a timeout.
Yeah.
That dude ain't no, like, thing, like the crazy thing, Jerry, my dog. Jerry has not grown an inch or gained a pound since he was 13 years old. It's like, that's how he looked at 13. And I'm like, what in the world?
God.
Then he had his homeboy Chuck Jones with him. And he said, I told you was going to go get y'all some help. Then we got Chuck Cornegie from Southern Wayne, who ended up going to NC State and Villanova. Following year, we played Charlotte in the championship. Beat them by 28. Like, it wasn't even close. So now we become the number one AAU program in the nation, right? Because everybody, it's the phenomenon to see Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah.
But I'm like, y'all gonna see, some games I led the team in scoring. Y'all gonna see him, y'all gotta see me.
Yeah.
So we're going through North Carolina,
that's a breeze.
like just killing everybody. So we go in Fayetteville, we beat Fayetteville by like 20. They got Jeff Capel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Jeff ended up coming and playing with this man. And those were the times that really got my name out there and solidified me not only locally, but nationally as well. Our first unofficial visit was to Wake Forest. We all walked into there, like it was our first visit ever. Me, Jerry Stackhouse, Chuck Cornegie, Jeff Capel. We all walked in there and they cut the lights on. We was like, yeah, we coming to Wake Forest. We in 5 minutes we committed. Like, yo, we coming to Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Like it was that crazy out there, man. And so I think, you know, as we got older, we just continued to dominate and we started playing upper age group. You know what I'm saying? And so we was number one in the nation for our age, and we had our battles with Boo Williams, and they had Allen Iverson, Tony Rutland. He ended up going to Wake Forest. Joe Smith, like all of those dudes,
Stack.
man. Yeah, and so it was battles, man. And so
those times where you're playing against just local guys in the rec, do you you don't realize it? You probably know, but that helped you tremendously because those are grown men. You're not playing against that when you play against other guys.
Grown men.
And those, when you're playing it with elite talent, and I think a lot of guys try to run from that. I don't think they understand. That's only going to make you better.
It's only going to make you better. Because I was already conditioned to be, quote unquote, the man. Yes. I had 40 and knew what it was like to get boxed in one. And I was getting that in middle school. You know what I'm saying? And so I just needed some help because in this AAU thing, you know how it is. It's one thing playing in Greensboro, but it's another thing stepping outside of Greensboro when you realize it's some more Theo P's out here. You know what I'm saying? That was it's some more Levelle Motons out here now. They like bigger, faster, and stronger. Man, I thank God for, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. My cousin is a guy that you all probably know by the name of Donald Williams.
Yep.
He was a year and a half older than me, but he was the number one shooting guard in America. And so I practically lived with him, and I just wanted, like everybody got their role models, and I just wanted to be him. That's how cold he was. So everything he did, I said, yo, I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I just followed his blueprint. And I remember he went to Nike camp and he came back and he was like, yo, man, you got to get to work. He's like, we got to get to work. I was like, what you mean? He said, man, it was a 6'4" point guard that was 220 pounds out there named Jason Kidd. I said, what? It's like, man, ain't nobody 6'4", 220. That's a center. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But at this time, we don't have the internet. All we got is Street and Smith magazine and Bob Gibbons, so we know people's names.
And word of mouth.
And so I remember him coming back telling me about C-Webb and Jason Kidd and Jawan and Jalen and Glenn Robinson. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's real. So that was my introduction to see like, yo, I'm cold in Raleigh. And I'm cold in North Carolina, but nationally, we got some work to do. So, man, we got ourselves together and we just went to work. And, you know, I just followed his blueprint. He led the state in scoring. And he held that record for years. And I think it was James On Curry that ended up breaking his records or whatever. But Boone is what we call Donald Williams. Like he averaged 35 as a senior. Cold, bro. Like 35 as a senior, 32 as a junior, 28 as a sophomore. I was like, yo, that's what I want to do. And he was a year and some change older. I remember when he wasn't even a Carolina fan, but I remember when Dean came to the hood to recruit him.
Yeah.
And yo, like everybody who had a felony, every thug, like they showed the utmost respect to Dean Smith. And I was like, oh man, homie's cold.
This is different dude.
Like that's crazy. That's crazy, man. And so Boone ended up selecting North Carolina. And that's how I really got close at North Carolina, because my junior and senior year, I would just go up there with him. And so his roommate at the time was Derek Phelps and Brian Reed. So when I went up there, like that's how I really got close to the Carolina program. You know what I'm saying? And that forever changed my entire life. And how I viewed everything. I was like, oh, okay, there is a vision beyond my current set of circumstances in these projects. You know what I'm saying? I get it. These projects will hold you down and you can be a product of your environment, but there's another world that we can venture into through hard work and doing it the right way. You ain't got to sell dope to get out of here. You ain't got to do nothing illegal to get out of here. And so I was like, man, I'm just going to use my God-given abilities. And, you know, I have Donald Williams to thank for that.
For sure. You had, because there are kids out there, there are guys out there that struggle making that decision on different sports. You said you were better at football. You were better at baseball, and basketball just fell in the lap. And you're just like, look, I had to work for this.
Yep.
What was it to make you make that decision though?
To be honest, it was it was the girls.
Yep.
I ain't gonna
hey, listen.
Like, I ain't even gonna hold you thing. Like,
sure.
I ain't gonna, you know, at 14, 15, man, I remember throwing like 2 touchdown passes, and this girl I liked at the time, I was like, do you see me? She was like, what number were you again? Cause everybody got on helmets. I was like,
that's a problem.
Like, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
But at them basketball games, everybody was there and they saw you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't care what a man says, 99.9% of the things that a man does is for another woman.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And so, yeah, I just remember going to the games and like, it was the instant gratification of basketball. As soon as you score, everybody screaming, clapping. They know it's you, and the announcer repeats your name, and it's like, I like this side. Yeah, this buzz is different.
Got you.
These basketball players are like rock stars.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. You get that all the time.
Yeah.
What up, everybody? As you guys know, the playoffs right now has been crazy. The first round has been super exciting. And you know who we rocking with, DraftKings, the official sponsor of Run Your Race. So everybody go to DraftKings right now, download the app, and use promo code RACE. New customers who bet as little as $5 get $200 in bonus bets instantly. The bump has been elite, and don't miss a second with DraftKings, because they're here with you until the champion is crowned. And they got you with same-game parlays and odd boost and so much more. If you're not into sports betting, or sports betting isn't legal in your state, DraftKings still got you with DraftKings Pick 6. So make sure you go to DraftKings right now, download the app, and use promo code RACE. New customers who bet as little as $5 get $200 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings, the crown is yours. What is getting recruited? When did you start getting recruited?
Man, my first letter. This is the craziest stuff. My first letter, because back then we just cared about letters. Yeah. Right? Man, you get a letter. Like, first letter was from Jim Valvano at NC State. And I lived 10 minutes from NC State, man. So I was just like flabbergasted. Like, I just went berserk. I was just happy that somebody was...
Somebody recognized
man, I didn't know anything about college, and like, I ain't know anything about none of that. Obviously, the better I became in playing on a nationally ranked team with Jerry and all of those guys, it was like, yeah, Jerry's a cold dude, but who the skinny dude that can score this ball and so on and so forth. And I remember back then we had prep stars at it was on UNC Charlotte's campus. So me and Jerry, a couple of more of my boys, we drove up there, right? In a citation, a Pinto or a citation or somebody. And we just played and came back home, and I didn't know anything about the rankings and all that. Again, I was just trying to follow Boone's footsteps, Donald Williams' footsteps. And so my first letter was NC State, and then they came in droves, and Wake Forest started recruiting me heavy. As it went into my senior year, I didn't understand it. You know, like, I just thought you choose when you choose. And so Wake Forest, the assistant coach that was recruiting me the most at that time was a guy by the name of Ricky Stokes. And then it was Frank Haith, who I think Frank used to be Miami's coach. Now he's on the assistant coach with Texas.
Okay.
And he was like, man, we want you to commit early. And I ain't understand what that really meant, right? Mm-hmm. My high school coach said, nah, he ain't commit early. He gonna see everything else that plays a part.
Yeah.
And so I didn't commit early, but a guy by the name of Barry Canty and Rusty LaRue, both of them committed early. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so once they took their commitments, they couldn't take mine. And then NC State was on probation, you know, at that time. And so I was like, wow. And then there was one coach, I ain't gonna name him, and I wanted to go there. It was a Big Ten school. And he called me in June and said he's gonna retire. So now, after having all these schools, and I'm leading the state of North Carolina in scoring at this time.
Yeah.
Right? Having all these schools, I'm like, wow, I don't have one no more. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's made their decisions, and I had committed to this school, but the coach said, nah, I'm going to retire. So I was like, nah, I can't play for the next guy. And so North Carolina Central comes in my house. The coach is Greg Jackson at the time. And he walks into my home. He had to get escorted because, you know, you can't come into the projects looking for him. They was like, yo, who is this? And he got escorted. No lie, bro. He got escorted to my door by 10 cats.
Hey, he good.
Yeah, my mama was like, but y'all don't leave that man alone. You know what I'm saying? And so he comes to the door, and he got the scholarship papers in his hand. This one you can have the scholarship papers in your hand.
Oh, damn.
And he was like, man, I ain't never recruit you because I ain't feel like I could get you. Because he was recruiting somebody else, Cameron Hunter, off my high school team. But he said, man, if you want to come to North Carolina Central, we got the paper right now. We'll love to have you. And my mom ain't know a lot about basketball, man. But she looked at me at the kitchen table, and I looked at her, and she said, I just don't want you to spend another year in these projects. Because she was scared that something could happen.
Oh,
right?
got you. Yep.
And so I just took a pen thing, and I just signed with North Carolina Central. I had never seen North Carolina Central's campus in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's damn.
Yeah, like it was 30 minutes away, but they had never recruited me. I wasn't interested in them. They, you know what I'm saying? Because I was gonna go
because
ACC.
you was on a different level.
And I remember signing. The next day, the headlines was Moton signed with NCCU and had a big question mark. And everybody's like, "Yo, what you doing?" Like, and it was crazy. I remember praying to God. I was like, "Man, please let me like the campus." Now I'm taking a lot of heat because I'm 2 blocks away from St. Aug and 4 blocks away from Shaw. So they're like, yo, if you're going to go to the HBCU, you could have stayed here and so on and so forth. I came up here at 17 years old, man, in the summer. And I loved the campus and fell in love with it. And, you know, the rest, shoot, from there is history.
So you went, he brought the papers in the house.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy.
And you just signed it. You just felt like it was.
I just felt
because
like,
at this time, you have to sign somewhere.
I got to go somewhere. Or, I was I was 17 when I got to college. Yeah. So I could have went to prep school, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah,
you know, like that wasn't the thing. Then I was like, man, I want to go play basketball right now. And the recruiting process was just so overbearing to me because we didn't have all these handlers and all. Man, it was me and my mom and my high school coach. You know what I'm saying? And
so it would have been Wake Forest.
It would have been Wake Forest. Would have been that. In hindsight, it would have been Wake Forest, hands down. They ended up signing Barry Canty and Rusty LaRue. Shout out to them. They were great players, but you know, we had our battles on that AAU circuit. And, you know, I know I
did your thing. Yeah.
Hey,
won that match.
Yeah. I got mine. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you get to you walk into something you have no idea about.
Yeah.
You took a leap of faith.
That's a leap of faith.
And you get here, you love it.
Yeah.
What was your welcome to college moment? Actually, let me ask you this before. What was there a moment in your high school career that you almost went that wrong way? That something happened and it got you locked back in?
Yeah, man, I was talking about it the other day. My high school coach, he still comes to the games. Man, this is crazy, man. I'm going to back up a little bit.
Okay.
I came out of 8th grade. Every high school in Raleigh is recruiting me to come.
Yep.
They're like, yo, you can be the quarterback, you can be shortstop, and you can be our point guard. We'll put the ball in your hand. Everybody is recruiting me to go play for their high schools. The only school that didn't recruit me was Enloe High School.
Okay.
And I had heard about how tough and demanding it was to go to Enloe High School. because there was guys like Nate McMillan and Danny Young and Doc Warren, who was TJ Warren's father, like Cookie Jones. All of those guys had been there. And I had heard through the grapevine, like, yo, it's tough and demanding. So this over here ain't for the weak. Coach ain't going to recruit you. He ain't going to kiss your butt. He ain't going to sweat you. But if you go here, you got to run 5 miles every day before practice.
What the?
Like,
nah, bro.
I can't make this up.
Nah.
Yo, man, I cried to you before I lied to you.
Yeah.
5 miles before practice. And coach ain't recruiting you like, if you coming, you coming, but you might not even make the team because when, back in those days, it was just, everything was surrounded by projects. And so many people it was an influx of talent in those schools. So he ain't have to recruit you because he was going to have good players and he had already coached pros.
Yeah.
And so every school that recruited me, I don't know, man. I think it was my grandmother's prayers or something. I don't know. It was just something internal that said, nah, this is what you need in Low High School. And no kid to this day would have chosen in Low High School or any school that ain't even recruiting for that matter.
Yeah.
I get there, and first day of trials, it's 126 people for 12 spots. And I'm short at the time. Like I'm coming out of middle school, man. I'm 5'4", 5'5". Like I'm a tiny man. I'm a baby. I ain't hit a growth spurt till my junior year of high school. And I remember him hanging up the list, man, and I saw my name on the list, and I just broke down crying. Like I was like, oh man. I slept when they gave out jerseys. I slept with my jersey that night. So I just was happy to be at Enlow High School. Now fast forward, my senior year, we're playing Cary High School, and Cary High School was like, their fans treated you like the Cameron Crazies, right? And it was a newspaper article done on me in the N&O on that Wednesday. We're playing them on a Friday. They introduced my name. They talking, stuff to me before the game. They introduced me. Everybody takes the newspaper. They had made copies. And when they introduce me and start line up, they take the newspapers, ball it up and throw it on the floor. Oh, they talking about my mom. Like, it's totally disrespectful. So I'm geeked.
Yeah.
I go out there and I miss my first 3 shots. And every time I get it, they booing and all that stuff. I'm the villain. Coach pulled me to the side. He's like, yo, calm down, bro. Like, calm down. You can't let it chase the game. Yeah, just let it come to you. I don't remember missing another shot that night. So I had again, I just want to do what Donald did. So Boone had 50 his year prior. And so I had 51 with 4 minutes left. And we was up 12. Coach took me out the game. I was mad he took me out the game because I was going to have 60 that night. You know what I'm saying? Then 2 days later, this is the craziest thing. I'm in my housing projects, the basketball court, because that's the cornerstone of every housing project. It ain't just basketball that go down there. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Right? little bit of everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what you want and what time of day it is.
Yeah.
Me and my 2 homeboys, man, we every day I went home at 5:00 because I had to see this show called Good Times. You know what I'm saying? Like I was religiously gonna watch Good Times. Well, I remember it's 4:43. We on our bikes. They was like, yo, let's go to the store. And I was like, nah, I got to go home and watch Good Times. Good Times came on at 5. Fred Sanford came on at 5:30. And at 6, the news came on. I ain't watched that. So we came back outside.
Yeah.
I go home, watch Good Times. They go their separate ways to the store. I watch Fred Sanford. Around 6:15, we're watching the news. I get a police knock at the door. Bang, bang, bang. My mom's like, what's going on? My mom go to the door. It's the police. Was like, ma'am, it's Levelle Moton here. She's like, what you want with my son? There's like, we need to take him downtown. He need to be investigated for a murder. What? Murder? Like, what? So they say the 2 dudes' names to my mom. She get in the police car with me. We go downtown. Yeah. Now my mama looking at me like I'm lying to her. You know that look because these my boys.
Yeah.
So I can't say I don't know them.
Yeah.
But they saying they have just committed a murder. They went to the convenience store, robbed the store, and shot the clerk and killed the clerk. And we got reason to believe that your son was with them. So my alibi, I had to tell them everything that happened on Good Times that day and da. So the next day, I'm still paranoid because I got to go to school.
Yeah.
And I see the cops walk into my first period class going to the guidance counselor's office. They're coming to see my schedule to see where I am and arrest me.
Yeah.
And my guidance counselor, Brenda Young, Shout out to Brenda Young. Love her to this day.
Yeah, for sure.
She told them, she said, you are not going to go in that boy's class and arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he's from a bad part of town, but he's a super kid.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to embarrass or humiliate him because he ain't done none of that and so on and so forth. So y'all get out this school and give him the proper respect. I still got this on my mind. I got to go to practice.
Yeah.
And so at that practice, me and Coach have a blow up. And he said, if you don't like it, Theo, this is no lie. This was the exact play. We're scrimmaging at practice. It's a 2-3 zone down there.
Mm-hmm.
My point guard take it out. I just tap it back to him. Coach says, you catch the damn ball with 2 hands and throw it back to... I'm like, Coach, they in a 2-3 zone down here.
They're not even there. Yeah.
He said, you do what the hell I said. I said, all right, yes, sir. And instinctively, I wasn't trying to be a butthole. It's just, I just tapped the ball back.
Yeah.
He amped. And I was like, and I was carrying so much of a burden that he was like, get off my damn floor. And he said, if you don't like it, then quit. And I just started crying. I took my jersey off, threw it down, said, F it, then I quit.
Mm-hmm.
And I bust into the locker room. I'm in tears, but people don't know. Everybody else know what's going on, but Coach don't really know what's going on because it's bigger than this play.
Yeah.
But the thing was, if Coach ever kicked you off the team, he ain't let you come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a man's man. Like, you done threw your future away.
Yeah.
And he came into the locker room and he talked to me. And that was the defining moment of my life. I'm so grateful to him, Frank Williams, because if he would have kicked me off that team, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for those little moments. And he called me a month ago and he apologized. He's 73 years old. He said, man, I apologize. I did not know what you was going through at that time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it brought me to, I was with my wife at the time. It brought me to tears because I was like, man, he taught me how to be a man and he was tough and demanding on me. But that moment, as a 16-year-old kid, I just broke. You know what I'm saying? I don't know anybody that could deal with the pressures of 25 to life and then go practice.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For
I
sure.
don't know who do it.
That just happened.
Yeah, you talking about mental health.
Yeah,
Like, that's
come on
real
now.
mental
That's
health
real.
right there. So
Yeah.
that's the event.
And that's your boys.
That's my boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so now I'm like, I'm worrying. And then back then, it won't no counseling, won't no mental health, won't no resources. It's just bottle up these emotions and deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because in the Black community, that was like taboo. That was unheard of. You talking to it. Man, you crazy. That's what everybody would say about you. So we didn't have those resources at that time, man. So and I told him, I said, Coach, you don't owe me an apology because you didn't kick me off that team. And I thank you for that because if you would have kicked me off that team, would have been no college, no, like my life would have spiraled out of control.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure, because you're dealing with a whole lot.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying?
For all my people who rock with Run Your Race, you know it's a little bit more fun when you got some money on the line. I'm about to bless y'all with a new platform where you don't have to rely on your gut when you place a bet with Outlier. If you want a better chance to hit on your bet, use Outlier because they give you data from 5, 10, even 20 games to give you a chance to win more bread. They make it easy by providing historical data to make your bets. And on top of that, they help you filter through any league, game, or player to find the highest hit rates. And they also help you analyze trends, performance data, and matchups for every bet. Wouldn't it be easy if they told you Rudy Gobert didn't average 12 points in the last 5 games? So head over to Outlier right now and get 7 free days and start betting smarter. Outlier.
But you get to North Carolina Central.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to college moment.
Mm.
It's real now.
Man, it's really real. We had so many. What I realized is it ain't no difference between Division I and Division II basketball guards. Like everybody on this level could play. They just had a story. Everybody had a story
Everybody
similar to
has
me.
story.
We had a cat named Jimmy Walker. Shout out to Jimmy. Cold-blooded, man. And he was like, I was 17, everybody else was older. So I had a hard time fitting in because I ain't really have common interests and shared values. It was just like I was just a little kid brother that could hold my own and play. But those first 2 weeks in pickup in here, everybody just went at it because everybody was fighting. Coach had like 18 dudes in here. Everybody's in here just fighting for spots. And so,
they know you the kid on the block.
there you go. And so they see the headlines and, you know, they said some little things under their breath. Don't matter who was recruiting you, you here now. You know, like little stuff like that when you 17, 18, you know what that mean behind the scenes. So I just had to come and hold my own and show these dudes, look, I can compete. It's real. Everything you read and heard is real because they're they're testing the waters. You know how it is when the new recruits hit Carolina. It's like,
1000%.
okay, this ain't high school no more, brother.
Yeah.
I got him. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so that's how it is. It was every man for himself. So my welcoming moment was not only that, it was, we had a beautiful setup because we would go play at Carolina 3 times a week and then go play at Duke.
Oh,
So,
wow.
You know, I'm going against Grant, and me and Grant close to this day. Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley, Christian Leitner, Antonio, Thomas Hill. I'm going over there, and then I'm going to Carolina playing, getting better, right? I already know Boone and D. Phelps and, you know, B. Reese, Big E. Then in the summer, everybody would come back. Like MJ, Kenneth Smith, everybody's playing. I'm like, so this is where you just hold your own. And every time I walked in that gym, especially Carolina, I just felt the need to prove myself because it was always just Carolina guys allowed in the summer.
Gotcha.
But I always played because they already knew me, and it was, you know, Boone was
connected.
my cousin, and I was connected. And I never forget, shout out to Shaman Williams. I ain't no Shaman ain't no me. But when Shaman, I got the most respect for that dude, man, because when he got on campus, he wasn't that good. And so we're playing pickup one day, and Shaman said, I got him. You know, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, you don't even know me.
Yeah, he ain't know me like that, but he just said it because, and I was like, and bro, we went at like, Jerry was like, tear his ass up. You know what I'm saying? Because although they were teammates, me and Jerry, like we've been best friends since we was 13. And so I just went at him, and I earned my respect that way. And I just kept earning my respect. And now as the years go, it's Vince and Sheed, and it never changes. I walked out of that gym on certain nights being the best player in that gym, and I prided myself on that. You know what I'm saying? So all that welcomed me to this NCCU thing where I was like, man, I've been guarded by the best players over there. I used to tell Derek Phelps when I go over there, you're the only one that can guard me, because he was the best defensive point guard in the country. So I was like, if I can score on you at ease and get it off on you, he's 6'4" long. Like,
I'm going to cook here.
I'm going to cook here. And that helped me so much. So now by the time my senior year comes here, you know, I averaged 5 as a freshman because we were loaded. And so I only played I didn't play much, and I was frustrated with Coach. But Coach called me in the office. He said, listen, man, it's political, right? And you got to stay with me, and you got to be patient. And now I'm seeing Boone get Final Four MVP versus Michigan. I'm like, damn, I can do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just need those chances. We had a hell of a team here. We 28-4, losing the Final Four of the national championship. And now I'm going to NC State the next year. I'm going to transfer because NC State done reached out, said, man, come on over. We off probation and so on and so forth. So I'm going to the ACC. Coach said, man, just trust me. And I said, man, like, this is too slow for me. Like, I led the state of North Carolina in scoring. This is what I do. I put the ball in the hole, man. So you got to trust me and give me that. He said, man, I will trust you. So my sophomore year, I averaged 19. My junior year, I averaged 26. Now my senior year, it's a battle between us and Virginia Union. Coach calls me in the office. He said, man, if you ever want to feed your family, this player of the year race is going to come down between you and Ben Wallace. You know what I'm saying? He said, so you a little different because you're not as appealing, right? You ain't 6'8" with all these muscles jumping up, touching the backboard and blocking everything. He said, you have to make sure you win player of the year by any means necessary. And that was the only thing on my mind.
You locked in.
And when we played Union, we lost to them, but it was on national TV. I think I had like 34 or something like that. So when the voting came down, I got player of the year, HBCU player of the year over Ben Wallace. And that kind of cemented my legacy, you know, not only here, but just nationwide, because cats like, oh yeah, he can hold his own against anybody.
That's big time. Over Ben Wallace, and just knowing he's...
Shout out to Ben. That's my dog. He's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. It's crazy because that was going to be my question. Did you ever have that moment, like you were getting recruited by ACC, Big Ten? And like you said, you was about to leave. What made you trust them and just say, I'm gonna just stick this out? Because at the end of the day, you're playing against ACC guys in the summer.
Yes, sir.
And you holding your own. And you want to be on national TV all the time. You want to play at that level. How, because that's going to go into what we talk about later with guys that are at these mid-majors and stuff like that. You you got something good.
Yeah.
You can just continue to develop and do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna find you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how difficult was that, making that decision, knowing you're at a different level?
That's crazy that you asked that, man. And I ask myself that all the time. I just think it's something inherently in my DNA of being loyal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the characteristic that I idolize the most in people. It's the characteristic that I demand from people.
Mm-hmm.
Like when me and my wife got married, I was like, I don't care about you loving me. Just be loyal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because where I'm from, loyalty is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you another thing that helped. I had a plan. Like, I see these young people, they don't have plans no more. Like they just moving and allowing life to move them in separate directions. Man, my grandmother was a very spiritual person. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Habakkuk in the Bible, Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. All right. So I was the kid that always wrote down my dreams, goals, aspirations on a sheet of paper, put it on my mirror, the corny stuff that people think. You know what I'm saying? And I lie to you not, man, I'm a master manifester, because everything that I wrote on those papers when I was a kid, I've achieved. I wanted to, number one, retire my mama. My goal was never the NBA or whatever. It was to retire my mama, right? Because from her working that hard, I said every school that I go to, whether it's middle school, high school, and college, I want my jersey retired. I remember writing that down as a kid. And so in order to fulfill those obligations, you got to stay. You know what I'm saying? And so again, I chose a high school that didn't recruit me. So I always had it in me to like
be uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, because that's where the growth happens. You know what I'm saying? And run my own race and not worry about what everybody else is doing, and trust that God has something bigger and better and destined for me. And so when I got to North Carolina Central, it was tough. And the emotional kid in me said, man, I'm leaving and da-da-da-da. And you say that for a moment. But I tell you what helped me, again, it's the Donald Williams thing. When he was the number one shooting guard in the nation. But Dean Smith was so honest with him. He said, if you come here the first year, you got to play point guard. This boy ain't never brought the ball up in his life. And I remember they were playing Charlie Ward in Florida State on TV. And he got the ball taken from him at half court like 3 times in a row. To the point that George Lynch took the ball out and threw it. He was waiting for the ball. He threw it to half court. He's like, man, I ain't throwing this ball to you. Yeah. Right? And so the following year, we're at his house and he complaining because now he want to transfer. He going through the, you know.
Yeah.
And man, God rest his soul, my uncle, we call him Tiger, Donald's father. He heard us in there complaining. And this is Donald talking about Dean Smith not knowing what he's doing. Yeah. Let's put that into perspective.
Sure.
Tiger came in, he said, man, do you think that man played the worst 5 mother that he can at one time?
Yeah.
And when he said that, it just hit different. We didn't have anybody that's going to placate to our feelings and feel sorry. He was like, man, you over here talking about playing time. He said, he told his son, he said, do you think Dean Smith played the worst 5 people he can play at one time?
Yeah.
Right. So if you sitting over here, there's a reason you sitting over here. And that's when we all went and got to work, man. So I didn't want to leave, but I just wanted to also be myself, right? Because I'm not against everybody leaving. It's just a certain situations and it's just about fit. And I just wanted my coach to trust me. My coach was, in hindsight, he was still young. It was only his 2nd year. So he was trying to figure some things out, but he gave me the green light to do what I needed to do, but I had to show him that I could do it on this level. And that started in workouts and summer and practices and pickup. And, from there, man, he just trusted me. And so after my freshman year, NC State was calling. Then after my sophomore year, my coach was going to leave. He said, man, A&T is offering me this job. Are you going to come with me? I said, nope. And he's like, all right. So we stayed, and then my senior year, he called me back up to the office. Somebody else had offered him a job. He said, are you leaving if I go? Nope. Because I wanted to have my jersey retired. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where I'm going to solidify myself, man, because I'm thinking 10, 20 years from now. So I'm so glad I've remained faithful to myself.
That's big time. That's big time because, like I said, that's what's missing now. It's 1,000% what's 100%. Missing now, because I know for me, oh man, I have gotten so many times somebody, Carolina was stacked. Why'd you go? I'm like, listen, bro, I wanted to win. I knew that was going to be the best place. Did I have time? Did I have playing time? Yes. Was it going to be given to me? Hell no, because we had other good players.
Yeah.
But did I have the best chance to win the national championship? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? 1-1. And it wasn't easy. I had to earn every minute I got. And coach was going to make sure you earned it. He wasn't just going to give you minutes.
Absolutely.
And listen, I look back on it, I tell people all the time, I don't regret it a bit because it made me know I had to earn things. I knew taking care of the rest of my life. I don't got to worry about that. Just being a good person.
Yep.
And then you just involved and you're in different avenues that you just can't get anywhere else.
You can't. It's what you're saying is you use basketball and basketball ain't use you. This is so ironic, man. I'm dating myself. I remember the first time you was on that campus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember the first time. I tell you, me and Sean May was talking upstairs. We came downstairs. You were a freshman in high school. No lie. You were a freshman in high school and you was in the practice gym just shooting by yourself. Yeah. And Sean was like, me, Sean, and Dave, Noel. Mm-hmm. There's like, I don't know who brought you up there. It might have been Keith Gatlin or whatever. Yeah. At that time. There's like,
that might be my sophomore year.
Sophomore year. So there's like, homie's next up. Mm-hmm. I was like, where you from? There's like Greensboro, like Brandon and all them cats who came from. I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And I remember you just being down there shooting. Mm-hmm. So to hear you tell that story and see the player that you became, the man that you became, the NBA player that you became, like all of this, the father, like it's to be celebrated. But I always say the two most important decisions that an athlete is going to make is the school that he chooses and the woman that he marries. Mm-hmm. If he goes wrong in either one, it can set him back 10, 15 years.
1,000%.
And you've seen that.
Yeah.
You seen cats that was cold, but they chose the wrong school. Mm-hmm. But you seen cats that was cold and chose the wrong woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So either way, it's going to set you back at life, man. So it's the consequences of our choices and repercussions of our choices. And there's benefits to that, man. And you made an outstanding one. So did I. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you get done, you do all 4 years. You went to the tournament. Did you go to the NCAA tournament?
We went to the D2. Yep.
And
at the time. Yep.
Lost in the Final Four?
Lost to the Final Four. Yep. To Cal State Bakersfield. Mm. Crazy game. Sick.
You still think about it?
Oh my goodness, bro. Like, cause that's a national championship.
Yeah, come on now.
You know.
Yeah,
like,
been there.
Those hurt. Ooh.
Those hurt.
It hurt. The higher you climb up that ladder, the more painful it is when you fall.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like
for sure.
That's some misery, man. That's some misery.
You do 4 years. Mm-hmm. It's pro time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is that? What was that process for you?
Man, I was scared. Mm-hmm. Because
this new life now.
It's getting real.
Yeah.
And again, I always used my cousin as a baseline. And he was an MVP of the 1993 Final Four. And now we're coming back home, going to the mall, and everybody like, man, why ain't you go pro? Why ain't you go pro? But cats wasn't going pro back then like that. Yeah. The only two cats that went pro in 93 was C-Web and Penny. Mm-hmm. Those were the two. I think those were the two dudes that left and went early. So everybody else was coming back to school 3-4 years. So I watched him. In his junior year, he hurt his shoulder. Mm-hmm. Then his senior year, now Stack and Sheed and Touche get there. Mm-hmm. And you got to share that spotlight a little bit more. And so I remember the Clippers promising him they were going to take him at 37. Mm-hmm. And we're watching the draft, and he going to be the first one in the family to do it. And they didn't draft him. Mm-hmm. And that's when I knew the NBA is a shrewd business, right? Because you don't even look at it as a business as a kid. You just look at it like, shit, if I'm nicer than him, then I'm going up.
I'm going to get drafted. Nope.
And my heart was aching for him because he was the greatest basketball player that I had seen. And I idolized this dude, even though he was just a year and a half older, more. Like, I got the most respect for him, man. And I owe so much of my career to what he was doing. Now, in the following year, I had led the nation in scoring and led the CIAA in scoring and helped my own, and my reputation is out there. And then Dick Vitale comes out with a magazine, and I'm on the cover of the magazine. Mm-hmm. Myself and a cat named Corey Williams and Ben Wallace. And I was like, okay, so it's making headlines and my name is getting out there. And I come out here, we're playing Virginia State, and I run out this door for warm-ups, and there's 19 NBA scouts out there. I got to run back in and throw up, like I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
You're seeing the Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, the Colangelos, like Nelly. Nelly was with the Mavs at that time and so on and so forth. And it's crazy because at the end of that year, the Mavs tell my agent, yo, if he's there at 34, we're picking him. Because the best guards of this draft is in black college basketball or small schools, right? And I was like, all right, that's what's up. But I ain't getting too high because I seen what happened the year before.
Yeah,
I'm like, I read this book before. Y'all ain't about to hit me with the 1-2. And so I'm ready. I'm solidified. I know what I need to do. I go do all my pre-draft workouts, man. And I'm the dude that's, man, I think I had like 14. I think I had like 14. See, I went everywhere. Like, it don't, I
did
won't
14.
I won't duck in no smoke. Because you know how it is. Like Pat Riley get you down there with Miami, and he make you run around the gym with your hands up for 90 minutes to see if you're going to quit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So different workouts, and then you got to play one-on-one, full court in Utah, man. That, like, it was just crazy. But I was like, nah, I can't duck any smoke. And so Dallas says, if he's there at 34, we're going to take him. And that's what they told my agent. And with the 34th pick, if you look it up right now, Dallas took a cat named Sean Harvey from West Virginia State, another black college. And I was like, I was hurt because I thought I was the best black college guard out there. I had solidified that. And, you know, that was the draft. I was like, wow, I fell back so far because Kobe declared, Sharif declared, Chuck declared. You know, I'm like, man, damn, y'all stay in school, man.
That's what I'm saying. What do y'all do? Oh, go to school.
Yeah, like, come on, bro. Like, it was just insane at the time, and I'm seeing them and I'm knowing, you know, who they are. And so the NBA draft situation ain't work out, but fortunately I had my big brother Nate McMillan, who was with the Supersonics at the time. He was like, man, the Supersonics love you. They want you to come out here to train it to Summer League, Rocky Mount Review. I go out there to Utah, playing the Rocky Mount Review, average like 13. Have a good one. Then I go to training camp and end up being the last cut. And they want me to go to the CBA at the time. It's like the G League. But I was like, nah, I got to go take care of my mama, man. You know what I'm saying? And so my first job was Indonesia. It was some Indonesian scouts there. They was like, we love him. They told my agent, yo, we'll give him like 15 a month to come over here. I said, sign me. Boy.
I'm going.
I said, man, you ain't never got to work again. And that's what it was. So from there, I just went overseas and played for, 7 years until I got tired of it from there. You know what I'm saying? So that was my journey. I was like, I ain't going to keep chasing this NBA thing because I seen so many dudes do it. I was like, if y'all want me, come get me from over here.
Yeah.
I'll be putting up the same numbers.
Yeah.
Still getting these buckets, but
I got to make this money.
It's more, I can monetize it better over here.
Exactly.
And y'all selling me a dream over here. Because I seen the cats they sell a dream to, and it's like, you just waiting and hoping. And it don't even matter what you do because now I realize it's a business and it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. It don't matter how cold you are. If they ain't got it's supply and demand, right? If it ain't, if it's limited supply.
Every day.
Yeah, bro.
Every day.
So you're seeing it.
And you see guys in the G and you just like, man, you cold, bro.
You cold.
You could play.
Yes, sir. You better. I know you're better than 30 dudes right now.
Yeah, you are better.
But the supply and demand.
I'm going to tell you though, it ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like, go get your bread.
Go get your bread.
Because they're seeing you cook and I know you're getting offers.
Yes.
I know they're like, yo, come here.
Yes.
Because that first year, you do the same thing. Oh, the money go up.
And I'm seeing how it becomes a young man's game right before your eyes, or a next man's game, right?
Yeah.
Depending upon, like the most amazing thing, like one of the most insane things was me going with Jerry to Philadelphia when he got drafted by the Sixers. Jerry left school early, so this is 95. He's already rookie up there. I'm still in school, so we go live together up there, me, him, and Allen Iverson around the corner, but we're together every day. Our crews is together. And so as they're playing, John Lucas is the coach. And in the summer, he invites some high school dudes down, and so they get to play with the NBA dudes. And it was a cat named World Be Free, man, who's could score the ball. Like, he was an assistant coach with the 76ers, and we're in the gym one day, And I'm watching him play pickup, and I got next, and I'm like, yo, who was that? Because some cat just do a move. I like, where he play overseas? And Word was like, who, that boy right there, the skinny one? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, that's Jelly Bean's son. Like, that's Jelly Bean's son? Like, he said, yeah, he in high school. And it was Kobe. But Kobe is like playing with the Sixers, and they already like, yo, homie, he's a junior at this time. Like, homie going to the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Rip was in there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, wow, these cats are really anointed already.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to take the jobs of somebody else who
Yes.
got to feed their family.
Yep.
And that's when I realized, yo, it's really a young man's game.
And it's a new,
And it's the next up. New wave
It's
every
a new
year.
wave every year.
Every year.
And that's what people don't understand. Like, yeah, you gonna get there.
Yeah, but can you stay
And
there?
you stay there.
Because it's 60 spots that's drafted. They only keeping 35. They don't keep it 35.
Come
Like,
on.
you get drafted 38, shout out to you, but
Yeah.
probably won't make that team.
It's
Going to
rough.
the G.
It's gonna be
Going
rough.
to- and it's best that if you get drafted at the 35, in some cases, that you don't get drafted at all.
Mhm.
Because now you and your
You
agent can select
Exactly.
your specific need.
Exactly. And that was the biggest thing for me because I had an opportunity to go to OKC. It was like, do you want to hear your name called? But you're going to have to go to Australia. I was like, I'm cool.
Yeah. I
Like
call home.
and it's not even like I'm walking across stage. I'm just going to hear my name.
Yeah.
I'd rather pick where I want to go.
Absolutely.
And it worked out for me.
Yeah.
What up? Y'all know what time it is. It is time for Theo's picks. And y'all know it's playoff time, so we're going with DraftKings. DraftKings, y'all go to DraftKings right now, download the app, and use promo code RACE. Now let's get to the picks. First, Wednesday, April 30th, we got Golden State versus Houston in Houston. Big game here. Monumental game. I'm going to go Golden State. I think that man, the best shooter that ever lived, is there and ready to go. But I like the way Houston is playing. I like the way they're competing at a high level, but I still think Golden State has that championship mentality and they're going to do what they need to do. Next, very good series, even though it's 3-1 right now, but a very good series. Minnesota versus LA in LA. I personally think Minnesota's going to win. I think Minnesota has a bunch of dogs who are ready to get this thing over with, but it is very hard in closeout situations. Closeout games are the hardest games of the series. And it's in LA. They're going to give their best shot. But I think Minnesota will find a way to come out on top and win that game. Y'all know that man over there. So he's on a different level right now. He can go back-to-back years of beating some highly touted Hall of Famers. So I think he's going to get it done. Thursday, May 1st, we got Denver versus LA, back in LA. I'm going to go LA. I think LA is the better team right now. I think they're the better team, but it's hard to go against, in my opinion, the MVP. But I think LA has the better team, and they'll find a way to get it done. But once again, that is Steele's Picks. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all go to DraftKings, download the app, and use promo code RACE. Now let's get back to the episode. You get done 7 years.
Mhm.
It was all in Indonesia?
Nah, Indonesia, Germany, Israel, Cyprus, Greece. Those 5.
You had some,
Yeah, I had some nice spots.
You had some nice spots for sure.
Had some nice spots.
The ball stopped bouncing though.
Yeah.
What was that next step, and how did you handle that?
It was insane for me, man. Like, it was, because I had, and I honestly say this, and I say it respectfully to everyone that's ever touched the basketball. I ain't feel like I hear the stories on how hard Kobe worked and how hard MJ worked and everybody else. Like, I don't think nobody who ever played the game of basketball worked harder than me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
we literally worked out 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Morning, evening, nights, like, and we did that every summer. And the grind and the wear and tear on my body, I just started feeling it. And then, you know this better than anyone. Once you start getting a check to play basketball, it ain't fun no more. It's a straight business. You know what I'm saying? And they will remind you every month that this is a business. This, you know, I always tell basketball players, I say, yo, how old you? All right, let me ask you this. How old were you when you first touched the basketball?
4 or 5.
And why did you touch it the next time?
It was just fun.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's all we ever did it
That's
for.
all we did it
never
for.
did it for checks and
Mm-hmm.
right. It was just fun.
Yep.
And see, when it's no longer fun, something just dips. I'm at this summer league in Raleigh, and Shawan Robinson's father, Darryl Robinson, and John Baker, they come up to me, 2 guys that I have the utmost respect for. And I'm debating, am I going back across this water or am I going to stay here? And I'm stacking my money, so I ain't spending no money. I'm cheap. I'm tight as everybody. Yeah, I'm frugal Vandross. I'm frugal Vandross. Now, he ain't get the dime out of me. I ain't spent nothing.
Me too.
Right. So they was like, yo, you going back across that water? I was like, oh, no, man. They was like, well, it's a job over here at West Millbrook Middle School if you want to go be a coach. And I was like, they said, man, you should go like interview. Just go see what it's about. Because they were coaches.
Yeah.
And I was like, I only went because of the respect I had for them.
Yep.
I go to West Millbrook Middle School. This was a Friday. I go on Monday. And when I get there, the lady that's interviewing me is my favorite 7th grade teacher of all time. She's the assistant principal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world? And I ain't seen her. And this at that moment that I realized that teaching is a thankless job because your favorite teacher don't even know that they were your favorite teacher. You know what I'm saying? I love this lady, Celia Selden. Hey, Miss Selden, I love you so much. And she says, Vel, I would love for you to come be the coach. Like our young people would love you, giving me the principal speeches.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there listening. And she said, stay right there. She said, I want you to meet somebody. She calls this young man down. He walks in the door, and when he walks in the door, it's like a little image of me, right? She was like, in hindsight, I realized she did it because he was me when I was 12.
Yeah.
Rough around the edges from the projects, ain't trust nobody, needed mentorship, et cetera, et cetera. You could see he was broken, had a good heart, but just needed someone to bring the best out of him. And so she called that boy down, and I met him, and he was like, man, you gonna be the coach here? And I was like, oh, no, man. And he's like, man, come on, man, I need you, da-da-da-da. And he walked back out. He already late to class and some stuff. And so she said, Coach, we need you. And I was like, how much does it pay? She said, no lie. She said $225 a month for 3 months. So if I took that job, I was gonna get paid $675 for the year. All right. I said, dang. Right?
That's a pay cut. Hey, listen. And the Lord is testing you.
Hey, you talk all that you want to.
Yeah.
So about for the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
That's
you
all
need
it's
to help
gonna
him.
be. Yeah.
You're going to help me.
That love can't pay these bills.
Exactly.
So when I get out, it's the craziest thing. This is how I know my life has been ordained by God. When I get out of the building, she said, just let me know by Friday. I said, okay. When I get out the building, I'm driving home. My coach here, Greg Jackson, who's now the coach at Delaware State, calls me. He says, man, you going back overseas to play? I was like, I don't know. He's like, I said, why? He said, man, I need an assistant coach. I was like, how much does it pay? He's like, $100,000. He said, man, I got to find one fast though. He said, well, let me know if you want to come do it. I'll pay you $100,000. He said, let me know by Friday. Then I go home, and I'm single at the time, and I just pray about it. And what I learned in that moment is, if the first question you ask yourself is, what will other people think about me, then you're not living your life. You're performing for acceptance. And I knew the scenario, and I knew it sounded crazy to take $675 a year, over $100,000 a year. But on Friday, I called Miss Selden. I said, I'm going to take the middle school job. And that's how I got into coaching.
Really?
Yeah. That's how I got into coaching. So we win a couple of championships in middle school, but now I'm bored because I'm coaching against science teachers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm not, like, this ain't coaching. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, we win a couple of championships. Now I get a call from, again, it's ordained by God. I get a call from a high school named Sanderson High School. When I played, Sanderson was the worst high school ever. It's that school that you ain't even, it's that school that you ain't want to play against because you knew you weren't going to get your average because you were only going to play half the game.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's how bad they were traditionally. I get a call to come interview for it. The principal at that school is my 10th grade French teacher. Kathy Moore.
Yeah.
And the interview is, Levelle, since you was 15 years old, I knew there was something special about you. That's why I want you to take this job. And I end up taking the job. We turn it around. We won 2 championships in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm training NBA cats, right?
Okay.
On the side, got my basketball camp, and I'm still single. I'm like, this is the greatest job ever, to be a teacher, have 3 months off, I had the biggest basketball camp in North Carolina. I had 300 kids.
Yeah.
Like, training NBA cats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living the life. You can't tell me nothing right now. So North Carolina Central calls me back because they're making the transition from Division II to Division I. They want me to come be the assistant coach. And I turned them down 3 times.
Did you?
And Miss Moore calls me into the office. She said, what is this I hear about you turning down North Carolina Central? And I was like, Miss Moore, I'm being loyal to you. Like, you gave me a chance when nobody did.
Yeah.
And she took a deep breath. She said, let me tell you something. She took her hands and she put it on my face like this, both of them. She said, what you have to offer this world is greater than Sanderson High School. Mm-hmm. You need to go back to North Carolina Central. And that's the only reason I left and came to Central. Because I was being loyal to the people that was loyal to me. Yeah, you know, that's just in my DNA. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I come to North Carolina Central. First 2 years is the most pathetic years of basketball I've ever experienced. Like,
it's bad.
Because we're making a transition, and there's no disrespect to the team, and we just could not compete.
Yeah.
Like, our first game, we played Duke.
Oh, hell.
Like, bro, we not qualified to be on no floor with nobody. Yo, this is no lie, man. I remember sitting in Cameron, and I'm assistant coach, and I got my pad. I don't even know what stats I'm taking, because there ain't no damn need to take no stats. Coach K felt so bad for us that he played zone in the first half. So when Duke start playing their zone, they started that on us because they never played zone. Coach K never played zone.
Yeah.
But he
knew they played man.
He experienced it against us. It was Gerald Henderson, that team, man. I was like, yo, this shit's moving so fast, bro. Like, we not ready. So fast forward, for 2 years, we're the worst team in Division I. Like, we're just going on a tour of getting our butt kicked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because now we got to raise money. We raising over 8. Everything is a guaranteed game. It's just an awful experience. Yeah. They ended up relieving my coach, Henry Dickinson, of his duties. So I called Miss Moore and I say, I want to go back to middle school, to high school to coach. And now I'm engaged. Oh, no, I'm married at the time. And my wife says, you always, you know, say you're going to take a leap of faith. Why don't you go interview? And I was like, these people ain't going to hire me. We 2-31. Yeah. I'm part of this. They getting rid of, they dropping the bomb and everybody got to go. You know what I'm saying? There ain't going to be no hostages left over. She said, no, you need to go interview. And so I interviewed and I got to the next round, but I thought it was token because I was a player here. Yeah. And then in the final round, they said, they never asked basketball questions. They just asked if I was a CEO, what would I do? And I said, look, man, I'm just going to run my program the way my grandma ran her house. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom and my grandma was able to get 2 kids out the projects and put them into college. So the core values and beliefs that they exercise, that's what I'm going to implement here. I didn't have any dream to share because I ain't have no Division I experience. And then I said, okay, the margin of error, the margin of defeat is 41.7 points a game. That's how bad we were getting beat, by 40 every night. I said, if y'all will hire me, I promise you 3 things. We'll be the ACC school in 5 years. We'll win the MEAC championship and we'll go to the NCAA tournament. And the chancellor, Charlie Nams, called me in and he said, I don't care about your basketball. I just want to know, are you tough enough? And when he said, are you tough enough? I just took it as an attack on my manhood, but that wasn't what he was talking about. He saw this internet coming up and he was like, yo, it's going to be some, you know, the internet, right? Like you lose some games, you're going to be the worst dude that is your skin thick enough to handle that? And I was like, man, if I ain't nothing else, I'm tough enough. You know where I'm from? So he said, we're going to give you the job. And so in 2009, that's when I became coach at North Carolina Central. In 2014, we beat NC State. We win the MEAC championship and go to the NCAA tournament. So all this been ordained by God, man. This ain't me. I want to sit here and tell you how great I am and how I...
No, I wanted to ask because, like, you're definitely a player's coach, and guys love you. And what I think those are the best coaches, in my opinion. But who was the guys that got this train rolling for you that you want to give flowers to? Because, like I said, those guys, you never know. Like, they might hear this and be like, we appreciate that, coach. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always, like me and Coach talk about it. And like, he's like, Theo, you brought the joy. Because I never.
He always told me that about you too.
I always, he's stressing over stuff. I'm like, listen, what we just talk about. This game is supposed to be fun.
Yes.
And if that goes, it's time to stop.
It's time to stop.
And that's why my last year, which was last year, I played, I did my thing, I did everything I possibly could do, and it just wasn't fun.
Right, it wasn't fun.
Because the business of it was too much. And I was like, why am I doing this then?
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to go overseas and start ground up and then be more business. And I'm not even in a place I'm familiar with. Nah, you know what? Let me just do what I like doing this. So let me just do this. And like you said, leap of faith. And that's what it came down. Who was those guys that got North Carolina Central and helped you build this thing?
Man, probably the most important recruit that I ever had in my life. And all of them been like, it's some special dudes. I'm gonna walk you through when we leave, because you can see some of these guys on these walls, and like the most important guy was CJ Wilkerson. And CJ, he committed to us when we weren't even in a conference. So he committed at a time where it wasn't even a guarantee that we were going to be able to play in a conference tournament and go to the NCAA tournament. And this boy comes here and scores 1,000 points in 2 years. Like, he gets busy, cold with it. And he started it. Like, he started all the eyes on, okay, they can compete. And we went to Oklahoma. We played Jeff Capel when Jeff was at Oklahoma, and we led from start to finish and lost in overtime. And I remember the faces of all my team just getting on the bus, and we was crying and like, oh man, that coulda, shoulda, woulda stuff. But there was so many people watching that game that now I go back to Raleigh and I get another kid that I felt like was super important because he changed the whole culture. And that was Poobie Chapman.
Poobie, boy, when I tell you, that's a dude.
His daddy was so cold. Like, I idolized his daddy. When I was a kid, I would go to the summer league and just watch his daddy. Man, his daddy could handle the rock like, oh my goodness, cold with it. I remember Poobie I remember the day he was born. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, man, if I can get this kid, because he had played with CP3. And nobody gave him like the respect that I felt like he needed, because he was playing with Reggie, and I think PJ was on that team, right? And so everybody's looking at all of them, but him and Dez is like falling in the background. I'm like, yo, these kids special. And so when Pooh became my point guard, and then I got a kid from Charlotte named Jeremy Ingram, man, they changed the entire landscape. And then KJ Javar and Jordan Parks, like, they changed the entire culture of what we're going to do. In 3 years, we were 46-2 in conference. And those 2 losses was about 1 point. You know what I'm saying? So we could have very well been 48-0, but they just carried a culture. And they understood me, and they knew I was demanding. But demanding is good. I said, man, I can't be your friends. You know, like, if you got a coach that's your friend and your boy, he's cheating you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got no 19-year-old buddies. We not here for that, man, because you ain't going to understand it now. But when this ball stop bouncing, you'll understand, oh, man, like, that was the guy. Because the teachers and the coaches that you respect the most are the ones that demanded the most. Not the teacher that wrote the card in and let you watch the ACC tournament. The teacher that said, nope, go show me how you got X equals 6. No, like, you're like, damn. But you had to go do it because it brought out the best in you. Same thing with coaching. You follow what I'm saying? And so those guys, and then Dominique Sutton transferred from Kansas State. And that just solidified it. And they was like, yo, they got something special going on up there. And I'm grateful for that. When Jerry was with the Mavs, he reached out to me and his other boy, Danielle Bryant. Shout out to Danielle and Chuck Jones. He was like, yo, let's do a summer league up at Central. And so we got busy and we did a summer league, man. And the first night, people ain't think it was going to go anywhere. The first night, I think we had like 20 people in here.
Mm-hmm.
The second night, I think we had like 50. Then the next night, we had like 4,000. And it became the summer league of like, I was responsible for player personnel, just getting everybody on the team. So that was easy. I got, Sheed and John and Kyrie was coming in and Antoine and all that. I was like, I put everybody on teams, get the sponsorships. And now it's the first time we had Duke, Carolina, and Central and NC State in this gym competing in the summer league. And then we did it Rucker style. We put the DJ over there, and man, it was Cameron Crazies was over there, and it was crazy. It was insane.
It was stupid.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, that helped me so much in just putting the spotlight on North Carolina Central, because we had to be creative to fit in with this Tobacco Road thing that was going on.
Yeah, that was dope. Play the clip. The games, the atmosphere was insane.
Insane. And we were able to get a North Carolina Central team in there to compete against the Kyries, the Austins, the Harrison Bonds, and the CJ Leslies and all those guys over there. Like, it was just insane. It was different every single night.
It was different.
Yeah.
This is going to be a conversation itself. This landscape has
yes, sir,
changed dramatically.
Yes.
And for a HBCU, for a school that has to, how tough is it now? You could have a guy come in, he 1,000 points in 2 seasons. Oh, the big dog's on the way. How do you deal with that now? How have you adapted to the new era of college basketball? Or is it still trying to adapt?
Yeah, you still trying to adapt because it's relatively new, and you're trying to put your finger on something that's constantly moving. I don't want to get no heat for it, but it kind of reminded me of my childhood when the housing projects was one way in our neighborhood. It was a beautiful place because everybody helped each other. And then I remember how my project changed. This is my experience. How our housing project changed. It became the person that you thought you could trust, you can't trust. Everybody's in it just for the money. The most important thing during that time was I learned it's no honor amongst thieves. Now you fast forward and you're looking at this NCAA business and everybody's chasing it. And it's no more morals. It's no more values. It's no more, you're not going to school to win a national championship. No, you don't care nothing about the name on the front of that jersey no more. No legacy, no more, I want to get my jersey retired. It's just, let me do anything to get the bag. And now you have people that's quote unquote handlers of the situations and quote unquote fake uncles pushing these kids to go get the bag. I'm all for the bag, but the problem right now is this NIL, it's become something it wasn't intended to be. And most people don't even know what NIL, the acronym, stands for. It was created for the name, image, and likeness of players to benefit off of it. And I'm a firm advocate for that. Because I was here when they were selling my jersey at the CIAA tournament and I ain't had $20 in my pocket. You know what it's like to walk down to see number 1 on Franklin Street. You're like, what y'all got this restaurant got the Theo value meal.
Sick.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a little something. Y'all putting, that's the Theo. Oh, if you mix orange drink and red drink, you get a purple drink. That's called the Theo. Well, Theo should get a percentage of that and monetize off that. I'm all for that. But it's moved so rapidly and it's become everything itself for that. I don't think you can put that toothpaste back in that tube anymore. And now it's the Wild Wild West. It's no honor amongst thieves. It's no trust. Everybody has 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Right? And right, it's only the rich is going to continue to win and the poor is going to continue to suffer. Right? And so you got to think to yourself, like, how do we rectify this thing? Like, how do we get it back? Because I tell these young men, look, I'm all about you getting your money. And to be completely honest with you, the money ain't the problem. It's the transfer portal. That's the problem. Because now you're able to leave here and go there, leave there and go there, and leave there and go there. I'm all about you getting your bread, get whatever, because I'm pro student athlete. I'm always for these young men and young women getting what they want. But here's the stories that the pundits and the fake people on social media never tell you. And this is why it's tough for me, because I got in this business because I cared. You can't care no more.
Yeah.
Because what I've learned in my life is any relationship that you lead with money, it ends tragically. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because now it's just a transactional relationship. You're not going to see seniors carrying jerseys and crying the way Marcus did. That speech he had for Coach Williams, that's forever indebted, right? You're not going to see that no more, right? Because nobody cares when you walk into these universities about the history. They're just caring about the money. Yeah. The thing with the transfer portal that people don't tell you about, and this is my concern, and I wanted to raise awareness to it, is that let's say a kid goes to Carolina, gets upset, and then comes here. Then he leaves here and goes to Duke. And he's able to play right away. Then he leaves Duke and go to NC State, and he's able to play right away. Well, each institution is going to take a couple of credits away because they're a different institution. Yeah. So at the end of your 4 years, you've been able to play instantly at Carolina, at North Carolina Central, at Duke, and at NC State, and you exhausted your eligibility. But now you're 24 hours short of graduation. Who pays for the rest of your graduation? Now you go back to your hometown without a degree. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And you're no better than the dude that dropped out of your high school in 10th grade and got his own plumbing company or whatever it may be, right? But if I look in your yearbook, you were the most likely to succeed. What have you done? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because we coach to 99%. We ain't coaching the Theos. Yeah. I got to coach to 99%. I don't get the Cooper Flash, the Theos, and all those cats. Like, nah, we're not getting those. So everything got to be a life major decision choice. And I told you how that choice ends because it's going to affect you for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what's happening with these young men. They're transferring to schools and they playing right away. And they're exhausting their eligibility and leaving 20, 25 credits short of graduation. And now they just out there. And now when the ball stop bouncing for them, what do? Yeah. Who do they go to? Because they burnt all the bridges of the coaches.
Oh my God.
You see what I'm saying?
You hit it
they
right
understand
on the
power of relationships because they're chasing the bag.
They're chasing the bag. And it's like what you talked about it earlier. It's one of those things where like, do you want to be another guy? Do you want to just be another guy? Because I'll tell you one thing. RJ Davis, Armando Bacot are forever good in North Carolina.
Forever.
Forever good.
Forever.
You are forever good. I am forever good in North Carolina. Like, loyalty means something.
Yes. But we know some forever bads too.
No, for sure.
And you feel sorry for them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because the most powerful thing about Child University is just that one phone call. Yeah. That can change your life. Oh, what? Okay, I got you. You graduated from where? Oh, okay. You played on, man, come on.
Don't succeed. If you succeed.
Oh my goodness, Lord. You straight for life. All you got to do is just act right.
I'll never forget, we had a meeting the night before the championship game. And Sean May was in coach. We didn't even bring nobody in. I think we might have. I can't remember. But I remember this from Sean. He said, you want to just pull a seat up at the table. You win a national championship here, you'll be good for the rest of your life.
Forever.
Pull a seat up at the table. And the thing is about that, a place like North Carolina Central, it don't matter where you at. Wherever you are, and you implement just being a good dude.
That's it.
Let's talk about Central right quick. Any guy that was a good dude, gave them everything they got. They can call you and what's going to happen.
Man,
I got you.
Fight. Man, boy.
The
things that I've done for my players.
Come on, man. Come on.
But if you leave here and don't do it the right way, it's hard to make that call.
Because
Kobe Chapman knows he whatever. I get him a job. It don't matter, man. Yeah. I love that boy to death because my success is his success.
And the thing is, it's not even that you won't answer.
Right.
It's the fact that they don't.
They won't call.
Can I even call?
Right.
Because I know I did wrong.
They're conscious.
You know what I'm saying?
They're conscious.
And it's so tough. And before I know this has been an unbelievable podcast.
Yeah, take your time with it. Bro.
What is recruiting like for you now? Like how that, because you saw Rick Pitino talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
What is recruiting like now? How do you approach that? Is recruiting more beneficial for the mid-majors now?
Yeah.
Because now everyone's in the transfer. It's hard for you to win in transfer portal right now.
It's difficult, man. It's man, it's hard, and we're trying to figure it out now, because the two most important things right now for coaches is talent acquisition and roster construction.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have money to get both, right? What required you to be a good coach 5 years ago, that ain't the requirements no more.
It's a league.
It's just straight bread.
Yeah.
You're not coaching amateur athletes anymore. These are semi-pros.
Yeah.
Now, like, just call it what it is. These are semi-pros. And the more money you have, the better the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with Mike Tomlin on the phone, man. And we was just talking. That's my man. And as we're talking, my TV is on in the background. And it says, tune in Saturday, number 1 Auburn versus number 2 Alabama. And I was like, Mike, you would think that's a football program.
Mm-hmm.
That was for basketball. No disrespect to Alabama and Auburn, but it's no coincidence that the SEC has become the number 1 league.
No secret.
It's the bread.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so they're willing to do something that other people aren't doing. You saw the ACC this year as a quality of a league. It was just like,
this ain't normal.
Right. That ain't the ACC I grew up watching with these horses. Like, nah, that ain't them. It's because of the money. Those coaches haven't forgotten the coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got the ultimate respect for Kevin Keats at NC State. His Final Four roster was $1.1 million. It takes $9 million to get there now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, them boys that's five minutes across the street, they got 9-10 over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the brand and the visibility, so they ain't missing the beat. So to answer your question, it's really hard for schools like us because we're probably the lowest funded program in the MEAC, which means we're probably one of the top 3 or 4 in the nation at the bottom. So now I have to become really, really creative on how we're going to get the funding to compete. And you remember them NBA parties? I hate to say this on the pod because you understand.
Yeah, I know.
You remember the parties? It's levels to it, right? Like, you go to those parties and you might be making 6 figures, but at the same party, there's somebody in there who making $75 million a year, and
easy.
Like, it's just you can't compete.
You can't.
You just can't compete.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where it is right now. It's just levels to it. And so we've become a glorified junior college because these guys, again, it's no honor amongst thieves. And once money is led, it's no value system. It's no morals. It's no nothing. It's just the money, the bag, the bag. These kids don't care that you're the only scholarship they got offered. They don't care about that because at the end of the year, they're going to come in, and if they average 10 points, they're going to go into the portal hoping to get another bag.
Yeah.
That's bigger. And I'm not even mad at them for that, right? Because that's not my issue. The issue is the transfer portal. All the players in the MEAC last year that made first team, second team, and third team all MEAC, all of them are in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Right? And they're going to get bags and so on and so forth. So it's like, yo, how do we rectify this, right? How do we figure it out? And number one, you can't complain about it. You got to make the necessary adjustments, but it's hard to make the necessary adjustments when the adjustment is money. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's just one of them things, man, that we got to adjust to as coaches, but we got to figure out how to get more money in here. And that's even going to be problematic when we do, because you still have to outperform or have more money than the other vultures that's out there.
Yeah.
And I always say this, man, and it spiraled out of control. I think you can fix this whole thing. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but the NCAA made $8 billion last year, maybe 9, right? If they just took $2 billion and said, we're going to do a revenue share amongst the 350 colleges or universities in the nation, I think that would be more than enough. And they should say, we're going to take this $2 billion and the Power 4s and Power 5s get 65% of this share because y'all deserve it, because y'all the ones who moved the needle forward. Y'all the ones who responsible for the contracts and television rights and so on and so forth and viewership. So give the Power 4s and Power 5s 65% of that share. Give the mid-majors 20% of that share and give the low majors 15% of that share. And everyone can have their own collective without putting the stress and the pressure on the universities. And now it can be legislated because a lot of times these kids are saying they're going to get some bread and they get there and they have a bad game. They don't get their bread, right?
And
so,
that's the problem though, because it's like, I agree with that because in that mindset, that can keep guys where they need to be. Because then you have guys that go to these other schools, they not playing, and then you got 200K just sitting on the sideline that this other school could have used.
And now, and then what happens with that is, see, it's when you throw this money in there, man, I'm telling you, you're no longer amateur athletics. Like you're a pro. The same stress that Bron and critique that Bron get on that criticism that LeBron and KD and everybody get, you're now under that same stress because these universities know you're taking a bag.
1,000.
And if you go to a quote unquote blue blood, man, there's a lot of history there. These fans are passionate. So if you are a quarterback going to Alabama, or if you're a point guard going to North Carolina, yeah, okay, you get this bag, but boy, it's expectations that come with that. And if you don't fulfill those expectations, you are going to be vilified, right? Because these fans are passionate to know Phil Ford, Kenny Smith, Jeff McGinnis, Joe Barry, Raymond Felton, Ty Lawson. That's the Kendall Marshall. That's the company you in. And if you fall anywhere below that, don't search your name on Twitter. Don't
go to Twitter.
Right. Because they're going to let you have it. And so I tell people, you can't be the man when you want to be and not be the man when you got to be.
1,000%.
Right? You can't be a pro when you want to be in college, but act as an amateur and cry, man, they picking on me and they bullying and like it don't work.
One of the biggest things that I've seen this year, and like I said, I don't condone death threats. I don't condone anybody saying racial slurs or nothing like that.
That's crazy.
But you can critique and you ain't playing well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You're not exempt from this because when it comes to that level, we grew up, you got to earn that gear.
Yes.
Like that. For me, when we was at Carolina, I'll tell you this, we knew if we won games, we were good. We were going to get whatever we need. We going to get the new J's.
Yeah, Mike ain't sitting in that box.
He going to send you that nice little box. Yeah. Final Four, we getting one of ones. You know what I'm saying? Like you working for that.
To the victors go the spoils.
So now you're getting paid. This is what you working to.
Yeah, bro.
You got to earn this.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think they need to, you can be able to transfer one time.
Yep.
If you didn't work, you're going to have to stick it out. Yeah. And then you got to earn your bread.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you can't keep running. Like that's my problem, right?
It's
like,
a lot of, and those guys that go to 3-4 schools, who you going to call?
That's what bothers me the most, because I care. I got into this to mold and shape the lives of young kids that look like me. And what I do know, this world does not feel sorry for you. So you can't run from yourself. Yeah. Basketball is a 4 or 5 year experience for you to figure out. Yeah, you major in this and get your degree, but the most important thing about a college experience is not figuring out the Pythagorean theory or what happened in 1963 on the March of Washington and your history class. The most important thing is knowing who you are, discovering who you are. And a lot of times when you're running from yourself, you can't discover who you are. So now how are you ever going to become a head of household or a father or a parent or a leader in your community or whatever it may be, right? Like you being the man that you are today, man, all you have done is just taken your basketball experiences and applied it in your household to your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all you've done, right? And that's the importance of basketball and having your ups and downs, your peaks and valleys, your trials and tribulations, but being able to overcome it, right? And you got to overcome it by sticking it through. Like something in life is going to require you to not run anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So when is that going to be, right?
Yep.
It's way too much running right now for whatever reason. And that's my issue with it, man. And so that I feel like the NCAA have to do a better job of molding these young men and women into productive citizens.
We're hurting them.
You're crippling them.
Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. And that's one thing we definitely, I'm going to make sure this get posted and hopefully it goes out because you're giving them a way to run away from something that's tough. Because when these 4 years are up, it's the real world. And then you on your own.
Yeah. And nobody cares.
Nobody gives a damn.
Like nobody's going to tweet you. Nobody's going to at you. They'll be talking about the next person that replaced you. You know what I'm saying? And I always say, uncoachable kids become unemployable adults. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes hand in hand, right? And so you just got to figure it out, man, as a student athlete. And when you get on the other side, you got to realize you got to go through to get through. Then you got to get through to get to. Everybody wants what Kyrie and Bron and Katie and those dudes have, man, but you know, those are unicorns. You know what I'm saying? Like those aren't the ordinary. Them dudes just
they different.
We know they just different, man.
And let them have it.
God spent a little
right?
more time on them, right? But for the rest of us 99.9%ers down here, we got to figure it out and do things the right way, man, and overcome some kind of adversity. And so it's real because adversity introduces a man to himself.
1,000%. And you're gonna end it. We're gonna end this on just what you have said. The 4 years you spent here. Coach just brought you weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah.
No, you were supposed to be here, but it wasn't like your mind wasn't here.
Right.
Because he just brought the papers. Like,
he just brought the papers.
And then the 4 years you could have left, you could have tried to go and you just stuck it out. You became Levelle Moton.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what
and
I'm
it's the greatest decision I ever made.
Exactly.
If I would have went to Wake Forest, I wouldn't have been. That's not my universe.
1,000%.
You know
1,000%. And at the end of the day, I just see all that. I just hope everyone sees that too when you just hear this story because I was the exact same way.
Yeah.
Could have left my freshman year, but I wouldn't have been the man, wouldn't have been the person I would have been today if I left.
Yeah.
I needed those 4 years.
100%.
And you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I commend you. This has been unbelievable pod. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, brother. Proud of you, man.
You need an
This your calling right here, boy.
Sure.
This your calling. I looked up, I saw you commentating the game. I said, VJ, come here, look at thee. Like it was crazy, bro. So I'm so proud of you, man. You got the gift, man. I'm just telling you, like you mentioned your calling earlier. Your career is what you get paid to do, but your calling is what you were made to do.
Yeah,
man, you're made for this, bro. Like it's the natural. Like I'm telling you, I've been here, seen it a million times. It's just natural. It's just gonna continue the trajectory of your life and career. It's just gonna keep going up, and you know you've done the right things, and you've been right by people. And I use you as an example all the time. I have I got cats in the league right now that I talked to a mentor and I told them, just look at you and Nate Robinson during y'all last years. You can get 3 more extra years just by being a good person and a good teammate.
1,000%.
And that energy, people will never, ever forget that.
1,000%.
Those organizations, the lives you touch, the way you impact people, man, like you got a unique gift, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, bro. Truly a pleasure.
For sure. And I appreciate it. Hey, look. I already told y'all we getting bigger and better. We got Levelle Moton up here. We got North Carolina Central greats.
Yes.
DraftKings, we appreciate you. And that's another episode of Run Your Race. And we are out.
Yes, sir.